Hello there, welcome back. You're watching McRaeathon 2021. We have the last run of the evening coming up just now, which is going to be Destruction Derby 2 Stock Car All Races by TumeK5. So we are just going to get that started right this second. Please take it away.
Yeah, evening everyone, or whatever you are in the world. Maybe you're in the US, but regardless. I'm TumeK5 and I'll be doing Destruction Derby 2 Stock Car All Races. So, it's the most significant category in the game, honestly, because wrecking racing is a complete meme. And we'll be doing all races because it's more interesting than, you know, skipping races. Wanna do all of them. We'll be driving the Pro car because it's the fastest and the coolest, obviously. And yeah, I'm almost ready to go. Gonna thing here.
I should probably say that I'm gonna be doing some commentary as well, some additional commentary for this run. So
yeah. So I'm guessing I can say 3, 2, 1 whenever.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, no confirmation.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll be doing it then. So the run will start in 3, 2, 1, go. So Joseph, you wanna tell about this game a little
sure.
bit?
So yeah, this is Destruction Derby 2, and this is the Stock Car All Races run, which the main goal is to finish the championship in first place and complete every season of the championship with all the races completed without forfeiting.
And just a quick note here, I'm running on PAL, which is like 10 to 11 minutes slower than NTSC.
Yeah, the game not only is it slower, it's also like you notice that the frame rate is a lot lower than NTSC. The game, it feels slower too.
Yeah, NTSC is super fast compared to this.
Yeah, so this is the first track. It's Pine Hills. It's very basic. It's like an oval with a jump on the back straight. You could say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a triangle, but it's technically got only 3 turns.
Yeah, it's not quite an oval.
One long turn and 2 90s.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very basic. It's not necessarily.
And sorry, I interrupt you. There's our favorite driver.
Yeah, our favorite driver is L Driver. He or learner driver. He basically has no clue how to handle his car, so he's going to be crashing into you, crashing into everyone else, and most likely wrecking himself before the end of the race. So, and he's probably the biggest nuisance for the whole run. All the other drivers are fairly consistent. They're all very aggressive, but L Driver is very annoying, and he can kill your run very quickly.
So basically, he's undergoing his driving license on the track, let's say.
Yeah, best way to put that.
And actually in the manual where it describes and shows all the characters in the game, in the manual you have the art for a learner driver, and he even has a sign "Kick Me" taped onto his back, so I'd say that's pretty accurate.
He's a driver. They're like some other drivers. They returned from the first game, Destruction Derby 1, which is almost has nothing to do with this game. How the game feels and plays is very different compared to DD2. It's much more slower paced, and the physics are weaker, and yeah.
Yeah, the one thing you'll notice is in DD1 the tracks are all flat and really short, but in this game they're slightly longer and have, you know, terrain, height variances, jumps. And the physics are a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, graphics too, you could say.
Yeah, a little bit better, yeah, at least.
Yeah, considering...
And the loading times are a lot faster.
Yeah.
And nothing I could do about that, because, yeah. This run has a lot of RNG. There's just nothing you can do about it when you lap these cars, and sometimes they're just lurking behind the corner like that.
Yep, a lot of this run is RNG. Even there will be some track RNG later on, but for the most part, you'll be dealing with AI RNG. The huge challenge in the game is to just dodge the opponents.
Yeah, there is actually RNG on this track, but it's very, very rare to get hit by it. It's when we take the first jump. Sometimes you land weird, even though you did nothing wrong, because you're allowed to take it flat out without a consequence.
Yeah. A noteworthy thing about this run is that we select the pro car. There are 3 cars to choose from. You have is it the rookie, amateur, and pro? Is that the right order? Yeah. And the first 2 cars are very similar to each other. They're quite understeery, and this one is more oversteery but much quicker.
Yeah. And over at Chalk Canyon, this is the worst track RNG wise.
Yeah.
Joseph can fill you in on that.
This is the track where you'll probably be resetting the most, just because there's so many things that can go wrong, like the chicane we just passed.
Sometimes it feels like it has moon gravity, and sometimes you're glued to the ground, so it's very inconsistent. And yeah, thanks, Brad. I'm gonna need that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the jumps in this are pretty inconsistent, especially the second jump here.
Yeah, I lifted, but I still got a bad landing, but I didn't spin, so it's all good.
Yeah, basically you want to just avoid landing on all 4 tires at the same time. You'll probably spin. The trick is to land with the front tires just before the rear ones. Much easier said than done, though. Yeah, I think another the reason. Okay, so with the sort of loss of control going through chicanes and stuff, you have to learn how to. That's a big part of it too. Anticipating when car's going to lose control and then adjusting for it.
Yeah, counter-steering the right amount with the quick steer, which is on the L buttons. You can use either. Like right here, I counter-steer, but I didn't counter-steer enough. And the problem is, if I counter-steer too much, then I'm gonna be facing the wrong way. Also, L driver. I skipped a beat there.
Yeah.
And there again, I left the ground for no reason. Sometimes you can easily take that flat out, but there's always the fear and uncertainty if you're gonna leave the ground or not. So that's physics RNG in this game. Sometimes it's just as.
Yeah, the thing about. I just want to talk a little bit about the goal of the run. The whole you have to finish first and stuff. The thing is, the AI are not consistent. It's a gamble. I mean, if you come first all the time, it's not an issue, right? But you can't really rely on someone better than others. This was a thing about the first game. There were a couple of AI that were very strong in the races, but here it's anything goes. You can finish 5th in all the races and still win, just because of how inconsistent the AI is.
And I want to. Well, we visually should be finishing first, like every single race. Ideally, we don't actually do that.
Yeah. What we do is we retire from the race as soon as we cross the line, but you don't let the whole race finish play out, and it can sometimes mean you don't.
This. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to learn how to recover from these and just minimize your time loss.
And I just want to say, if we get 1 minute of my PB, then it's all fine because of all the RNG, which I have no control over.
Yeah.
Especially, traffic RNG.
Yep. Yeah, learning the tracks is one thing, but then, learning where all the AI, how they're going to behave. That's another.
And sometimes they have these scripted fails where they lose control for no reason, and that's obviously just meant to ruin your race.
Yeah, I guess.
Because it's a destruction derby.
Yeah, and just there's like certain corners where everybody just piles into each other, and it's as if it was deliberate. Yeah, another thing, because you have to complete all the races, you have to watch your damage. On some of these tracks, you're prone to taking a lot more damage, and yeah, if you wreck, then that's the end of your run, or at least it becomes invalid.
Yeah. And well, if you know what you're doing, you don't actually take that much damage at all, but if you have extremely bad luck, then I want to look at that damage indicator.
I was going to mention how Pine Hills was the shortest track, but this one is it's a CCR, Caprio...
County
Yeah.
Raceway. Not country.
Yeah, this is probably the shortest track lengthwise, but yeah. And the biggest issue here, the track is simple, it's the AI. Because it's such a short track, all the AI are condensed into small, like half the track, and you can get flipped over very easily if they just tap your side, and yeah. You can know this track perfectly, but the AI can just do really random things, and they just dive bomb in corners, and then yeah, you get flipped over. Quite pleasant.
Like there, I almost got hit, but I knew I had the distance, so I barely avoided getting hit.
Would like to mention that this is so this would be the first season of the championship, and it's 4 races per. Yeah, 4 races, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 4 races and 4 seasons.
For some reason, I thought it was 20 races total. No.
No.
That was the first game, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about the Pro Car earlier. It has like this oversteer thing, but it also means that you can take advantage of it on a track like here, where you can initiate a drift and then get around turns with ease.
Yeah, what Joseph said earlier about this track's RNG, you pretty much never ever get a clean race here. There'll be at least one car somewhere, and here's a good chunk.
Yeah, and of course, depending on the track, there'll be the amount of opponents that are wrecked. Like one of the tracks we'll be getting to, Liberty City, it ends up just becoming a graveyard of cars by the end of the race.
One time Joseph was running, every single car was wrecked. And this is actually one of the worst luck I've ever had on this track. The cars are just dead on that turn.
Yeah. Yeah, and where they die, that's just where it is. You have to hope that the AI will push them out of the way before you arrive. There's L Driver, somehow still alive.
Early starting his second lap.
Yeah, I have one little speedrun strat that we do. We put the car into bumper cam before we end, and it basically cuts a bit of time off from the start of the next race. I think that's how it works, yeah.
Yeah, you just change the camera and it skips this whole like 10 seconds of waiting. Because there's the, like every racing game, you have that camera panning and rotating animation at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Choke canyon.
Yeah, I have my splits open right now. I just want to know how I'm doing. I have the splits on my end, and I actually named Choke Canyon.
Yeah.
Especially, we didn't even mention it before, but the bottleneck that you have in the beginning, it can actually get blocked by the AI themselves, but it's very bad luck if that happens. Very rare.
Yeah, and then you can only hope to just push through, and if you get stuck, then that's done, yeah.
But you don't actually drive through, you have to jump over and kind of like do spins in the air, and it's very slow.
Yeah.
Once that happens, it's just a reset. If I was doing a serious run.
Yeah, and this is what then this would be the last track in the season. Yeah, the Ska or SCA Motorplex.
Yeah, I call it Ska because it's in the logo, but it's actually also used for the last race, which that track we only do once, because every season you unlock a new track, and just the last season as that track, it's only used there once in this championship.
Yep.
And that's the coolest track, I'm afraid, but at least it's in the finale.
Yeah, this one's fairly complex as far as the game goes, but it's also not too bad. I think once you get past the first lap, it's generally quite okay.
And right there, as I turn into the tunnel, you have that. You can clearly see the polygons as the dip, comes down to the tunnel. There's also a bit of physics RNG there too. If you turn at the wrong time, like 1 frame too early or too late, you'll leave the ground, and it will compromise your entry.
Yep. Yeah, you have to just basically learn every section where this can happen, and prepare for it.
Yeah, just like in any racing game, we would have to learn the tracks, but in a different manner in this game.
Yeah. Yes.
You have to learn the little quirks of the tracks. And there I purposely slowed down more because I wanted to let the optician pass me there because I knew he was gonna dive bomb.
Yeah. Appropriately enough, the AI are very aggressive, and I don't feel like they target you. You just happen to be in the way. Everybody will.
Yeah, every single AI has that line under that turn.
Also, in this in the S bend, I guess the chicane at the end, there's another scripted place for the AI to spin out and crash.
As well as the turn before.
Yeah. And now.
And because we want the best start here, I'm gonna. Oh dear, it didn't work. I just missed the timing there. It's actually pretty strict. You basically have to grind against the car in front of you. Then you get a smooth transition to the other lane. You can freely take that start, but I messed it up completely, and there we go, we lost like 5 seconds.
Oh.
But no worries, this is not a serious run. I'm happy if I get within 1 minute, and that's completely justified because of the RNG.
One thing you need to know when you move up in the series.
Oh, come on. Crashman is trash.
Yeah, when you every season you go up, the position you start in changes. So as you move up, you move up divisions in the race league, I guess you could say, and your starting position goes further back every season.
Yeah.
So by the time you reach the end of the game, you're starting in last place. So.
Yeah, if you're leading the division. Or no, sorry, it goes the other way. When you're leading the division, you start 15th, but since the first race is at Chalk Canyon, this track here, we started 20th, but because we gained those points, and in the next race we start 15th, so start further ahead in the division, the grid, but since we're in the last division, the highest we can be is 15th. And that compromises all the starts for that division. Also nice. Serious air there.
Yeah. Nice one.
And even though we botched the start, we will easily win the race.
An interesting, but this is more for like a casual play. If you enter the pit lane, you can actually fix your car. Of course, we don't do such a thing in the run, but if you're playing it casually, then yeah, it's
yeah, A, you don't wreck your car that much, and B, it takes too much time. So the pit stop works by rotating your car, and it highlights the part responding those indicators in the damage like the car status, and then you just repeatedly mash square, fix your car, and you can pretty much fix the whole car. But if you have lost a wheel, you cannot recover that. You can fix the car otherwise. Have we gone through all the like prerequisites? There's one thing at the sand pit. Sometimes, for some goddamn reason, when you land, you might actually land bad and lose control of the car. But that's a fairly flat jump, so it shouldn't happen. But it can happen for some reason. That's again some physics RNG.
Yeah, and the thing about the second jump, we discussed how when you land, you can land weird, but there's a strat you can do where you lift for a bit and then it tilts the car forward and you land better. It doesn't always work, but it gives you a better chance of landing properly.
Yeah, there's a chance that if you do it flat out, you can land properly, but most of the time it's gonna end up bad, so you shouldn't go for it. So as I do here, I lift and now we land properly. So you want to land with the front landing just before the rear. If you land flat or front clearly before the front, I mean the rear, then you're gonna spin.
Yep.
And just for the record, since I have the splits on my side, I'm already 30 seconds down to my PB.
Wow.
So we'll see if we get within 1 minute.
Yeah, and then this race. And then a race like this, you don't have too much control over. You know the track, but the AI can do whatever they feel like.
Track's extremely simple, but when it comes to the AI, this race is really unpredictable.
It's basically a miracle if you don't touch any car on this track.
Yeah, there will be at least one touch, despite corona restrictions.
Yeah.
So we cannot avoid contact, we just have to minimize them. And there's our first contact already on start of lap 3. Like I said before, there's absolutely no chance you'll get a clean race, but if you do, then what does it matter? You've screwed up somewhere else, so...
Yeah, getting a good run is just a bit of luck, a bit of skill, and yeah.
Yeah, the PB I got like 1 month ago, a little over 1 month, I don't remember how long it's been. Took me at least 10 hours prior to getting that PB, like multiple streams because of all the RNG I've had. I had a decent PB, but finally beat it. Only by around 20 seconds, but it's quite huge when it comes to a run like this.
Yeah,
If I ever end up improving, it won't be by much.
Yeah, my run's quite a bit worse, like 2 minutes or something, so...
Yeah, you need a lot of patience speedrunning this game. You have to have not only a little bit of skill, but some RNG too, admittedly.
Yeah, you're gonna need some good reflexes for any AI. Yeah, you need to...
And know exactly how to, escape bad situations, squeezes, and you lose control of your car.
Yeah, you...
All these little things, they add up.
And something like a quick steer, you're gonna have to get quite good at using.
That's another instance where we brake more than usual, just to let the car pass. Less pain. Fairly clean race for what CCR usually is, but we'll never be clean. You could just hope for a clean as possible. Like a couple contacts, maybe.
Yeah, this was a pretty good run, all things considered.
Yeah. We saved 3 seconds there, so now we're only 27 seconds behind.
3, 2,
This time we'll do the lane switch, right?
Yeah, because all the AI pile up in the first turn.
This is scary. Oh, thanks, Learner Driver. He actually corrected me there. For once, he's useful. I was about to lose control, but then I hit him and kind of used him as padding and support. So we got away with that. That start is actually pretty scary, that even though the cars, because they're scripted too, they go straight forward in the hairpin, but those that don't get involved in that pile-up, they will push you to the right side instead when you exit turn 2.
he's way out in front.
Since we're only in Division 2, or actually Division 3, because we're going up the divisions.
I don't think... No, Raw's not here. Not this time.
Yeah, so, because we started P10, that start was relatively easy to do, but then when... Yeah, this track is definitely in Division 2. Start P15, so... Be pretty,
It was a clean start, though, so, yeah.
Yeah, and Learner Driver was playing part of that. Surprisingly, he was useful.
Also interesting to note that you don't see many... Where are all the dead cars at? Because you're just kind of going and it's pretty smooth sailing, so yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the more enjoyable races.
Yeah. It's one of the more technical...
It's also one of the longest, so that explains why there's no cars everywhere. Like CCR, which is really short, full of corners too.
Yeah, and then this is one of the more technical tracks, so, you know, it's more about... If you know the track, you can get some pretty smooth laps out.
And that I had no control over. You never know when a car's lurking.
Yeah, and also running out into the...
It would really...
Yeah, running out into the grass is quite painful. You lose like 90% of your grip.
Yeah, it's almost like ice. You just... It's not as slippery as ice, but it's pretty close. And you can't accelerate on the grass at all, so you never want to be there.
Yeah, there we go. There's a scripted AI moment where they just run out like that.
What was I about to say? I had something in mind. And another physics moment there. Sometimes when you just go over simple crests like that, sometimes you just have that little... I don't know, what even call that?
I don't know, the game just switches off your grip and you're gliding. You're like...
Yeah, for a fraction of a
You're
second.
like aquaplaning on asphalt.
Aquaplaning in
Yeah.
air. They're pretty much. And now we're only 22 seconds behind, so we're actually gaining here. I've had some terrible luck, apparently, here in my PB run.
Yeah, that was...
Because we were 30 seconds behind and now 22.
Yeah, that would have been almost perfect if it was, if you didn't hit the car.
Yeah, would have been.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is the first new track which we unlock, so pretty clean start, but when in the later divisions we start further back, it's impossible to get through clean. You just hope that you don't half spin or even in the worst case tip over, which is really sensitive in this game.
Yeah, the key here is to survive the first 2 turns. Well, the first turn and the sort of like the kink in the before that. And then, yeah, a lot of AI gets destroyed here as well, because it's just very hectic. The AI don't really know how to navigate a couple of these turns and it's crashing.
Yeah, and it's a fast-paced track, so when there's cars sideways, you just hit them at full speed.
Yep.
Another physics moment.
But basically, yeah, you learn the AI paths. You learn where they mess up, where they deliberately crash, and then you can work around it.
One good example is a Liberty City. Just before the last turn, you have that sort of chicane, and they always drive straight.
Yeah.
They don't attempt to turn. They always go straight for the wall. So if you're familiar with the game, you will know that they will do that. So you know how to prepare. Because they always have these very consistent lines, but very bad lines. They always do the same thing. Except if you're a loner driver, he does his own thing. Like different from the others, he's the black sheep.
One of the things for this track when it comes to saving time on the lap is we slightly pre-turn the car on the final turn, so we land slightly sideways and it gives us a better exit on the turn.
Yeah, if you're approaching it at high speed, then it ends up so that, like we're doing right now, except we oversteered, you prepare for the jump, just turn slightly before it, then you land sideways and then you hit the rear wall with the rear, and then you pretty much just go.
Again,
Pretty precise trick, but even if you succeed, there might be cars there, so it doesn't matter.
and again, surprisingly few amount of dead cars in the first part of the track.
Yeah. Had to use quick steer there to escape from that.
Yeah, that was a good turn there. Good example of the lap.
I can't believe we actually saved time.
Yeah, it was pretty
Uh,
clean. There was very few mishaps and things.
Yeah, and now we're 16 seconds behind. Like, one could argue, am I actually going for PB? No, because I mean, yeah, we're gaining time,
What
but
if?
you have to... Yeah, but it would have to be a miracle of a run from now on to even match the PB.
I think it's worth noting, returning here to Pine Hills, but you're further back, it's much more difficult.
Yeah, sometimes they can completely screw up the first turn, and you're caught up in the pileup, but that time we escaped it clean, but I got spun around that turn, so slightly compromised, but could have ended a lot worse. It's always scary reversing back to the center of the track. If cars are just coming by, they can hit you and in the worst case tip you over.
Yeah, we talked about the camera change, saves animations.
Yeah, and they're retiring, so we can just instantly end the race.
Do we have a quick moment?
And we also
So,
talk.
sorry to
Sorry?
interrupt. Carry on.
Yeah, I will. So we don't actually win every race. I said that earlier, because we end the race right at the line, retiring. That means that for some reason the game doesn't count that as a first place. We have to wait for the flag animation, I guess, to actually finish in first, but it doesn't matter because we still get enough points for each division and season. So yeah, I think we've mentioned pretty much everything so far. And whenever something happens that we haven't discussed yet, then we'll get to it.
Yeah, we still have 2 tracks to see, but yeah, pretty shortly.
Okay, just like to remind everyone you're watching McRaeathon 2021. We've got the Destruction Derby 2 run here. We're raising money for Mind. €75 already donated, so please see if you can get your donations in. See if we can raise that total just a little bit higher. All of your donations do go towards Mind. And I hope you are enjoying this fantastic run. Cheers.
Every time I hit Loner Driver, you're forced to donate €1. So let's hope we don't, or if we will. I don't know if that's a good thing. A good thing if we avoid him, but every time we hit him we would get some donations. It's up to you. But every time we hit another car, they would be too greedy, and if you make a drinking game out of it, you'd be drunk in no time.
Yep, and you never know, so...
So we're currently second place, and even if we get the lead and like assumingly finish first, that's when we skip the race, and then we finish actually like 7th, or it drops us back quite a bit, but it doesn't matter because we can still easily beat the AI in the standings.
Yeah, too inconsistent. Yeah, in the first game, it was you had to worry a bit about where certain AI would place in races because there were AI that were certainly consistent, always finishing top 2 or something. Here, not really. It's more about how much better, like how good you're doing, not so much the AI.
Yeah, in rare cases you can actually lose the championship in the final season and division, but that doesn't happen often. And to be honest, if you're having a good run, it's not really that much of a heartbreak because the run is so short, you can just keep trying and trying.
Yeah.
It's different if you were doing like an 8-hour run, then it would be like it would be pretty heartbreaking to lose at the end. But this is a very short run, so you can just keep grinding it to your heart's content. Provided your heart can take it.
Yeah, this game will definitely, I don't know, put pressure on your nerves. What am I trying to say here? You know, yeah, your patience will be tested with this game. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, now that we start further back, this start is a lot more scary because they push you on the grass here, but this time they actually gave me room, so sometimes they just blatantly push you on the grass, but they gave me room, so we escaped that.
Yeah, very considerate of them.
Yeah, very considerate of learner driver last time, recovering my loss of control.
Now they're driving, yeah, they might spin out here. Let's see.
And I don't think they instantly spin out, it takes like a few laps, and then they suddenly, oh!
Yeah, and then I'm not really sure, you know, what if I've only done an NTSC run once, but it wasn't really good enough, so I didn't submit it. But I'm just, you know, wondering, is NTSC could be even worse, because, you know, it's moving even quicker, so the hecticness.
Yeah, it's harder to optimize because of the speed. But ultimately it's faster, so if you want the world record, then you know what you need to do.
Yeah, it's so odd that the port, it's just a direct speed increase. They didn't just improve the frame rate. The actual pace of the game is moving 15 or 16% quicker as well.
Yeah, like the PC port is just slow motion compared to this. Even PAL, yes.
Yeah, the PC version is really odd. It's very hard to get working on a modern system, but even then it's not worth it just because it's...
Yeah, for once the console version is superior to PC.
This game also did not get a Saturn port. The first game got a Saturn port, and then this one, it's, I think, just...
There was actually a Saturn port.
Nice one.
What I was about to say, it was actually in the works of getting a Saturn port, but it got cancelled for some reason.
Yeah, perhaps hardware or something, because this game is technically a lot better than the first game, so who knows.
And I messed up the word there because Saturn, it ended at N, so it was like port.
Yeah. And it's an inferior port to the PS1 game anyway. Less opponents.
Yeah, Saturn is a terrible console.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, for example, the DD1 Destruction Derby 1's Saturn port, it has like sprite smoke instead of generated smoke effects. It has like sprites.
It might even have less races. It has less AI.
Yeah, so it's like heavily compromised.
Yeah. And funny enough, the PC version...
Ooh. Oh. First I was like, oh, I got a nice squeeze, but then, oh. That joy was short-lived.
Yeah, but funny enough, the PC version is very similar to the Saturn version. I don't know, is a Saturn port just is it just ported from the PC? I don't know.
To So basically, in this run, hope for the best, fear for the worst.
Yep. Pretty much.
And right there, I was like, oh, I escaped that situation, but only a second after cars in the way. So you have to watch everything until the very end. Don't celebrate too early. Especially if you're about to get a PB, but then turns out you lost the championship. Have to wait for the very last screen to confirm that yes, you won. That was the perfect example of how you do that turn.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? When you retire, like we do, you have a chance of not winning. So, yeah, you might end up losing the championship. You can just hope that you didn't, and you have a far enough lead that it doesn't make a difference. And
Viper, I just want to quickly point out that Ska, or Motorplex rather, he has a weird finish line placement. It's actually before the checkered line, so that's why I quit earlier, because I actually hit the line, even though it's not visually there.
Yeah.
For some reason they placed it there. That's the only track with that exception.
Yeah. Basically, what we retire as soon as we see the race over text, like the moment it pops up.
Well, you know, if you have ears, you can just listen to the as soon as you hear the ending quote, you just end there. Yeah, Viper, same goes for you too. If you have ears, then you know when to end. Like, if you hear the ending quote, well, it's the same as throughout the whole race. As soon as you hear that, you know you hit the line.
It's just weird that, you know, on the last lap, if you win, he just says the same thing.
And funny enough, there's actually an alternate quote, and it seems to be something to do with if you fail near the completion of the lap, instead of saying the way out in front, he says first place or first.
Huh. Oh, yeah.
Very, very, very rare to run into. He instead says just first.
Yeah, I've seen it. Who knows?
And he has to do something with failing the lap at the end or having a really small lead. Since we are the best racer in the world, he will obviously say the better line. Oh, and that was actually a segment best.
Wow, really?
Goes to show that even though that race wasn't perfect, I've always had bad luck there apparently. So
how's time looking?
Somehow, and it could have gone even better. So that can still be further improved.
Yeah.
And Joseph.
So this is Liberty City, not to be confused with the same place in the GTA universe. It's
yeah, it's just a generic name.
Yeah, it's a, I guess, yeah, a city course. It's not, the track isn't as wide, but it's quite a short track. It's very fast paced, like Black Sail, and you have this. Majority of the track is consisting of asphalt, but you have this dirt path about 3/4 of the way in.
Yeah, this like unpaved section.
Yeah. And the trick here is to basically.
It's very precise.
You can manipulate the physics, I suppose, for lack of a better word. You don't have to take the jump. You can just drive over the jump, and it saves you from taking the air.
Yeah, and if you brake at the exact desired time, you can just literally drive over it without even the rear lifting. That's a very precise timing. Sometimes it seems random, but it must be just really precise, so it seems random.
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell when to brake. I kind of use the car bouncing around as a cue.
And this is the graveyard. Oh yeah. If AI cars get flipped over, I think they're just stuck like that, even if they're not dead.
Yeah, when they're upside down, they get stuck, unlike us, because we get recovered.
Yep. Race doesn't end for us.
But you know, it would be quite weird if they got recovered, then no one would be upside down. And we don't care about the others. They'll be dead in this track anyway, so...
Yeah, so like the most common spots for AI cars to be destroyed is right after the final turn, and the...
Or even at the final turn, which is pretty horrendous.
Yeah, it's very annoying. They usually get up, they very oftentimes get in the way of your line.
And that's the perfect example of just going over the bump.
Yep. It's kind I honestly don't know how to do it. You know.
It's just very precise, and sometimes it feels random because it's not consistent at all. Like, if you do that every lap, then you're a master.
Yeah. But again...
But you can do it sort of consistently.
But really, this track is very simple. If you just count the AI.
It's just the nature of it. And right here. And it's even worse because of the darkness. Yep. You know, PS1 limitations, they were clever and made it seem as if it was dark, but they're just covering the horrible draw distance.
Despite that, the track environment looks quite good actually, with all the colors and things.
And now we're in the last division as well as the last season. As you can see, we start last initially, but on the next race we will start at least a little further ahead, maybe even 15th, and that's the highest we can start in this division. Yeah, this game is extremely fast-paced. I still don't know how these cars are accelerating from 0 to 100 or 0 to
200 in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, without any wheel spin whatsoever. Very unrealistic, but...
And it's the same thing going backwards. You have ridiculous acceleration.
Backwards, you even have multiple reverse gears.
Yeah, fantastic. This particular version of Chalk Canyon, nothing different about it. It's just the fact you start at the back can be quite the heartbreak if you're on a good run.
Uh-oh. Okay, we made it through, but I hope that won't be a block. Even one car is enough to trigger it.
Yeah, this game doesn't have as much of the phasing through cars as the first game does. It's like a big meme in the first game.
Yeah, it's a lot more... Like, it doesn't happen as often in this game, but if it does, it's mostly due to the high speed and the game can't handle it. But if you phase through, especially there in that bottleneck, then it's only a good thing. But yeah, I was about to say, obviously it's not realistic for the cars to be this fast, but it just adds to the fun factor. Like, if they were realistic, it would be pretty much like the PC version. Like, PC version speed is pretty much realistic, right?
I'd say somewhere in between this and PC. Yeah. PC feels really slow, but that obviously could just because you're so used to this. So.
Well, let's just have a look in the next race as we start. 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 is like instant. Even better than motorbike. Or drag cars or whatever, it's just freaking in.
I would say this game does benefit from the high speed though. It makes it more interesting. Obviously frustrating, but...
Yeah, it adds to the fun factor. If it was realistic, no one would play it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I told you it might happen. This is gonna waste a lot of time.
Oh.
And like I said before, this is extremely rare to happen, and of course for the McRaeathon it's gonna happen, because why not?
Everything the game has to offer.
Yeah, you're getting the full experience, and yeah, that efficiently wasted like 10 seconds. And we had no control over it. That's actually extremely rare that happens, so I guess you can consider yourself lucky to witness that.
It definitely is, yeah. Anything can happen.
Yeah, you expect the unexpected for this run. Just don't know what's gonna happen. And again, but this time we get through a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's some nice stunting going on.
Maybe saved like 1 second compared to the last time, but
Just look at that. That's great.
yeah. Like I said before, you don't drive through, you fly over with a few spins. But yeah, I'll let you know just how far behind we are. The comparison to my PB. That obviously hurt us quite a lot. So if we were going for a PB a while ago, now it's completely gone.
Good RNG on that jump, though.
If there's anything positive to find,
Yeah.
right?
No airtime. It's good.
34 seconds behind.
How much time did you lose on the certain segment?
3, 2,
You mean
Yeah.
Liberty City, you know, the last race of the last season, previous season, we were 22 seconds behind and now we're 34. So I lost 12.
I feel like you spent more than 12 seconds on the first blockade there.
Yeah, but it could be just the race also being bad on the PD run.
Yeah, because you never know. The perfect run doesn't exist.
Yeah, only the least compromised is the best run. CCR will never be clean, so if the rest of the run is clean, there's still CCR that remains Corona infected.
Yeah. I'm just...
Oh, okay, we got the perfect bump there.
I really want to see this track with just a huge graveyard by the end.
he's way out in front.
Yeah, it's not like it matters if we lose time anymore, so why not? We've seen pretty much everything this game has to offer in this one single run.
Yeah, because yeah, the game's content. Like if you go through it all. Oh, nice one.
Yeah. Physics.
Yeah, there's not too much content in this game. Like you have stock car, and then you have wreck and racing, and wreck and racing is very manipulatable. Yeah. Yeah, you just stand in place. The whole point is you earn points for getting crashed into and spinning cars and stuff, and you just stand in the middle of the track.
Yeah, obviously the intended design was to drive along the track just like stock car and spin cars along the way, but that's not the optimal way. We just wanna pick the best spot and kind of take cover and then assault incoming cars.
Yeah. And then people haven't really done...
And you get points based on how much you spin the car. And if you wreck a car, that's extra, but just after the spinnings. Yeah, cars everywhere now. You got your wish. And there you also see hear the other quote when he just says first. And this time we didn't do Ballerina, but we had a weird, like, switch. But yeah, we should be getting within 1 minute of the PB easily, but just want to repeat that this was never going to be a PB run A. This is actually my first time launching the game today, but it's simple enough to run that you don't really have to warm up that much, especially if the RNG is gonna screw you up anyway. And B, what was I on about?
You were on about why this wasn't going to be a PB.
Yeah, the other reason is obviously RNG.
But you never know. You never know. You got a segment best, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 1 segment best. And that was a good start. Not like it matters anymore, but that's what you want to happen, especially in the last division.
Completely hectic, yeah. For the AI.
But yeah, you've pretty much got the full experience in this run, especially the bottleneck, which the game was generous enough to give us. Like, if you have that happen, especially if you're in a PB run, you're very unlucky. And this time we were lucky to be unlucky, so you got to witness it. One car can trigger it, and indeed it did. And now you could say afterwards, why didn't you just push the car away? You could have avoided that, but... You know, we're hoping that it doesn't happen so we don't waste time moving the car out of the way.
Yeah.
Run's full of RNG anyway, so it's just hoping for the best.
Hey.
Or some things you make, like, take care of and do carefully, like the big jump at Chalk Canyon, you wanna lift a little bit so you don't compromise, just for a few tenths.
Yeah, a lot of the working around the AI is, are you going to take the risk trying to pass them or do some stuff, or will you just play it safe, hang back, and wait for the AI to crash?
Yeah, like there's a lot of intuitive reaction going on. How you act when you have to make a decision really quickly. Like what approach will you take? And hello, learner driver. That would be €1, by the way.
Pretty good.
A loner driver is such a curse because sometimes he can ruin your race indirectly by being pushed around by someone else. It's pretty incredible. Like, he didn't want to ruin your race, but someone else hit him and happened to be him. And when we're done with this race, we're heading to the final race, and only get to see it once because it's the last track we unlock.
Yep.
It's the coolest track out of them all.
The most complex and longest track.
Yeah, I really loved the twisted section in the beginning. It's very hard to nail, but it feels very rewarding if you nail it. As I said earlier, the only reason I call the Motorplex Ska is because you have that Ska logo, but you have it here too. It's just supposedly stands for Stock Car Association, like a fantasy thing. But yeah, I was so used to calling Motorplex Ska.
Yeah, this track's also notable for having two major path differences. Or 3, is it? Or I think it's just 2. Yeah, it's just 2.
You have two splits. This one in the beginning and this one right here. This is shorter right here, but oh, and then you have the third split in the end. That's right. And at first I thought it would be faster to go for the jump straight in front of us, but it's actually faster to go around because taking the jump is faster, but pretty much have to land on the left side there and take the long way around.
Yeah, and if you go on the left side on the first shortcut, well, you'll lose a lot of time. Shortcut is not quite the word for it, but...
Yeah, it's a shortcut initially, but then, oh crap, we have to land. We can always try though, since this is not serious or anything, and we actually land straight back on the track. It's pretty hard because we have to control the car, so it's not really worth doing unless if you do that perfectly.
I think if you might be able to save time.
Yeah, but that's so hard to execute. You have to do it absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and considering how the physics can do things.
So you have to turn at the jump, you can't be already heading towards the landing. Yeah, I like DD2's soundtrack even more. DD1 was like electric drum and what is it?
Drum and bass.
Yeah, bass and drum. And electronic, but this is just trash metal in this game.
Yeah, this is very like reminiscent of, or would be for Doom or something like that.
And we'll see if we can even visualize the race. Pretty rare that it happens, but we got compromised by the pilot in the beginning. Sometimes they stay on the right barrier. They go across the track, and then you have no option but to hope you just find a way through as fast as possible. And yeah, as soon as we go to the after we complete the race, that's when the time ends. Even if it says we didn't win, and the timer there, naturally. So as soon as we get to the menu, it's and we won. But we didn't meet the within 1 minute of my PB. We actually missed the PB by 1 minute and 9 seconds. A very average run. That was, on my end at least, that's 58-53. And there you have it. Construction Derby 2 stock car. It's full of mess, but it's actually a very fun category. We have the heart and patience to grind it. But I'm gonna step out from this game for a while because I got the and it's incredibly hard to even beat by a few seconds. So I was happy with the run I got, as well as the run I got here, especially considering what happened. Had so much mess, and the bottleneck lockout, which rarely happens, and unfortunately happened for the stream.
Well, GG, thank you for a fantastic run. Anything else? Any final last words before we head to the outros?
But yeah, like we said earlier, wrecking racing is a meme to run, and naturally the first thought is to just stay in the middle of the track and spin the other cars around doing that. I think it's pretty hard to actually win the championship doing the intended way, as you would do in one, actually going around the track. But stock car is like the only significant thing to see in this game and experience. But if you just want to have fun, then go wrecking racing and see how many points you can gather. And I just want to quickly mention that in DD1 you actually had the option to Destruction Derby, just the arenas, as a championship, but in this game it's not a thing. So you only have stock car and wrecking racing to do the championship on. Final thoughts, well, I was expecting not to expect, because yeah, the RNG just slapped us right in the face. So this run was good for what it was. And while it seemed like at one point we were doing a P in the end, a minute away from it, so yeah, expect the unexpected with this game, and those are my final words, I suppose. Thanks for watching, everyone, and depending on where you are, have a good night or a good evening.
Well, thank you very much indeed. TumeK5, that was absolutely amazing run there. Destruction Derby 2. Okay, we'll be back to you very quickly. We're just going to have a quick break, and then Viper and Joseph will be with you to sum up the day's events. So thank you so much. Stay with us, folks.
Yep, see you guys later.